Good morning. Welcome to the Monday morning show. That's Ryan G. Hensley. I'm Grant Cohn. Things escalated really quickly yesterday. The Niners were just going to take care of business against Washington. Felt like a throwaway weekend. And then all of a sudden, the Eagles lost to
Yeah,
Arizona. And it's like, next week doesn't even matter.
matter.
It's
Yeah.
essentially an exhibition game. So let's start right there. Ryan, given these turn of events, should the 49ers just rest their starters next week?
Yeah, man, I'm back and forth on this one, honestly, because the 49ers are in a unique position if they wanted to rest all you can't rest all the starters, but you can rest your premier players. And they're in a position where they could do that and walk into the divisional playoff game at home with everyone healthy outside of, Huff. Obviously, he's gone. Maybe Armstead. I'm not sure what's going on with Armstead, but outside of those two guys, they could be 100% healthy going into that game. And I think there's a tremendous value there that they should definitely think about it. I tweeted out yesterday, I think they should do, maybe a quarter just to keep guys, in the flow of things. But I watched Dante Whitner and my guy Rod Brooks, and they were talking about it. And Dante said, hey, man, there's no such thing as rest. They play 16 games. They can continue to play in practice. I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I disagree. I have mixed feelings. But guys like Trent and CMC and maybe Brock and like Fred, like I don't know if you want to play those guys. Charverius, like I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? I'm curious to see what you think.
I'm a little nervous to disagree with Dante Whitner because I respect Dante very much and he played in the league. I have a different perspective. Dante, if you're watching, I got nothing but respect for you. I First of all, I would not play any player who has like a slight injury.
Yeah,
Something that could get aggravated further.
Trent.
So, like, if you have an MVP caliber running back who has a calf strain, I would not freaking play him in this game.
Yes, facts.
Absolutely not.
Right.
And anyone else that's borderline doesn't play. But the way I look at it is like I disagree with Whitner on this. I don't think all the starters should sit. I feel like that's a starter asking to sit. Yeah, he was a starter. He probably wouldn't want to play in this game.
Right.
But if you don't play them at all, he's saying they could still practice. Well, why would they get the starters reps in practice if they're not going to play the game? Like, wouldn't you, if you're just going to play the backups, if you're going to start the backups, wouldn't you have to give them the first string reps in practice so they can actually be prepared? That's the way I look at it.
I think he was talking about like the one-on-one. He said you can do one reps, right? You can do stuff like that and keep them, active and moving.
I don't know. The way I look at it is like, let's say that they don't play at all. That's 2 weeks off with probably, a severe lack of reps that they would have been getting in practice. I don't think that's necessarily good for them. A 2-week break with very limited practice reps and no game reps. I would rather them practice this week, the starters, because they're not going to practice next week. And then I think they should play at least a quarter, like a quarter or 15 plays or a drive that ends in a touchdown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least for the offense. Nothing more than that, but I think sitting out 2 weeks wouldn't be ideal. I know Dante Whitner has a more expert perspective, but that's the way I see it.
Part of me thinks like, a drive or two, a quarter or two, but then I also think like, man, what if they do that and in that drive or two, one of these guys gets hurt? Like, it's just like, is it worth it? Or is it just smarter? Let's just keep them healthy and come out. We got the home field advantage. We got to win 2 games to get to the bowl. Let's focus on that. I'm not sure. But
what if they come out rest?
Well, that's true too.
Dante Whitner says it's not a real thing. It is a real thing. It doesn't mean it'll affect the Niners, but you don't know.
And here's the other question though, Grant. Like this, we're talking about what we want to do. What is Kyle Shanahan going to do? What do you think Kyle's going to do?
Well, he's old school. He's conferring with his dad. I think these starters are going to play. Not McCaffrey, but I think Purdy's going to play a quarter. I think Ayuk and Debo are going to play a quarter. I think Warner and Bosa are going to play a quarter.
What about Trent? Don't you think he's earned?
Yeah, I would think he would. I don't think Aaron Banks will, but I would think Trent Williams would play a quarter. I think he would, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not. I mean, he doesn't even practice on Wednesdays. Maybe they'll give him the week off, but I think most of the starters are going to play a little bit. That's my prediction.
Let me ask you this question too. I'm curious. Maybe you know. I mean, obviously you guys get all the injury reports, and we get them too after the fact. But what's up with Eric Armstead, man? Is he going to be able to come back? Do you have any clue? Do you have any insight on that? Because that's huge.
It's plantar fasciitis. It's extremely painful. It doesn't go away that quickly. He probably can play on it, but there's no point in playing on it in the regular season. So I would imagine he'll be back at some point in the playoffs, and he won't be close to 100%, but he'll be out there. It'll be better than nothing. He's really important to this defense. I was thinking about it. Like they're not a great run defense team anymore because Steve Wilks likes to play two deep safeties, which is just pretty much sacrificing your run defense. And when you play two deep safeties, you got to have one guy in the front seven, two gapping because you're down one gap. And he can freaking do that. Like he can shut down two gaps on the strong side of the offensive formation easily. He's really, really, and he can get you sacks. He's really, 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 really good. But I don't know if he's going to be able to be at that level the rest of the season.
Is Eric the kind of guy? Because if you look at the NFC, not that I'm taking any of these NFC opponents lightly, but what NFC teams are really going to come out and run on us? I mean,
Detroit,
man.
Detroit and the Rams. The Rams for sure. But like the Rams, I'm not that scared about. I think Cohn and Williams is good, but Detroit has two really good running backs, in my opinion. And their backup running back, I think, is better than their starting running back.
And Detroit, they just lost to the Lions or to the Cowboys, even though they should have won that game. That was kind of
Jared Goff. Yeah. So no one's scared of Jared Goff. But the thing is, the way to beat the Niners is to run the ball on them, to run it on them. They lost to PJ Walker because the Browns kept it close and committed to running the ball with, worse running backs than what the Lions have. So, I mean, what in the NFC is going to run on the Niners like the Lions could?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, and the Lions, what makes the Lions scary is the same reason why they lost. The same reason why they lost to the Cowboys, because they don't give a ish. Yeah. Dan Campbell does not give a damn. Very aggressive. And even though it cost them that game, even though the refs probably screwed that one up, but even continuing to go for it, it's like you're on the 7-yard line, you're going for a 2-point conversion when you could just tie it up. Even though it cost them that game against the Cowboys, that type of aggressiveness can win them the game. So there is that little bit of unpredictability when it comes to the Lions. It does make you wonder, but they're damn almost.
But the defense isn't good enough. That's the problem with these NFC teams. Like, is there a team in the NFC with a defense that can really match up with the Niners? Vikings did a pretty good job, but they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone. And the Cowboys have that defense, but they don't perform. They have the players. Yeah, they have the players.
Soft. But NFC tough. Not even NFC tough. NFC tough. Yeah, absolutely, man. All the like it seems to me. So Detroit could actually run the ball on the Niners defense, but you're gonna get gashed by the Niners offense. Tom Jensen, who writes for my site, put up an article this morning looking ahead to these matchups. It's a great article, and he's talking about Detroit, and he said they're statistically the worst defense in the league against play action. Well,
what do you know?
That's not a good matchup for them. It seems to me to match up with the Niners, you have to have studs at every single spot in the back seven. Back seven, because you have to cover 5 excellent players every snap. You can't have any weaknesses, or else that guy's getting matched up with Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel, or he's getting found.
Yeah. So, do you think with guys like Eric Armstead, maybe it's a matchup thing? Maybe like you don't even play him in the divisional, depending on who you play, if he still has some kind of aggravation.
Yeah, take your time, Eric.
Right.
Or don't even play till the Super Bowl. How about that?
Depending on the matchup, right?
Depending on, like, they could probably get to the Super Bowl without Eric Armstead. He's great, but it's the NFC, guys.
Yeah.
Maybe against Detroit, you'd like Eric Armstead out there because, again, they have 2 running backs who are going over 1,000 yards this year. And that backup, the first one, David Montgomery, is really powerful. Jahmyr Gibbs is like, who's more explosive than him? He's more explosive than McCaffrey. I'm not saying he's better, but he's more explosive.
Yeah, he's nice. He's nice. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think in general, the 49ers, they got 2 home games. They could be 100% healthy if they choose to. They should be able to win both of those games and get to the Super Bowl, man. It's a good year for – and I saw you're going to Vegas, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Got to cover the Super Bowl, man. They're probably going to – well, I'm not going to say they're probably going to win it, but they got a better chance with Purdy than they did with Jimmy.
That's the thing, right? Like, they almost won a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, man. Now they got Brock Purdy. Yeah, they got
You know what's
Brock,
funny?
man.
People are like, oh, you know, that stat of the Niners being 0-39 or whatever when they're down 8 in the fourth quarter. Like, who cares? Whoever comes back from an 8-point deficit in the fourth quarter is like,
The Chiefs.
both teams that Kyle Shanahan faced in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's
if
true.
every team was just hopeless in that situation, Kyle would have 2 rings right now. So I'm just saying.
That's the thing with Kyle. I think we're going to talk about him, but yeah, that's the one thing with Kyle. He's got to stay on script, stay with what they're good at, and just keep doing what they do.
Jorgen 1990 says rest of starters 200%. Even have the T lady cover D end. I disagree, guys. A quarter, like a preseason game. You can protect him. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says Cowboys don't have linebackers unless they put 11. Yeah, that's the thing, man. These NFC teams don't have linebackers. Eagles don't have them. I don't think the Lions have them.
Yeah.
Let's talk Brock Purdy. He set the Niners' single season passing yards record yesterday. Broke Jeff Garcia's record, broke it by a few yards, just a little bit. And I think what's interesting about this is I think it's important that he did it in this game and not the next game. Because any record that's broken in the 17th game has an asterisk, in my opinion. And this one was broken in the 16th game, which means this is a legit record. Same amount of games as Young and Montana and Garcia. Top 3 on the list: Purdy, Garcia, Young. And what I think is interesting about Garcia and Young, those two put up those seasons with Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens.
Yes.
2 of the greatest wide receivers of all time. I'm not saying Brock Purdy didn't have weapons like that, but those guys had
Steve's
weapons.
I'm pretty sure Steve's record was 15 games, though. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he missed one that season, didn't he? Because he was getting beat up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why he's my guy. That's why he's my guy.
Yeah, he's my favorite quarterback, too, for the 49ers.
So he's my guy.
Either way, it's fantastic. And I think Brock did it in way fewer passing attempts, 440 passing attempts, which is crazy. Now, it does speak to a couple things. And our boy Jesse, I think he brought it up on Twitter this morning. Shout out to Jesse. I think it is a bad record. Like, we'll put it that way. Like, it isn't like an impressive, not bad, but it's like there's probably like 5 quarterbacks over the last 5 seasons that broke that record. I think it's 100. I think Jesse says 132nd overall.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible that's the Niners. Yeah.
It does speak like it's phenomenal that Brock Purdy did this in his full starting season. Don't get me wrong. But it also speaks to how bad the quarterback play has been for the 49ers over the last 23 years, especially in this new modern era where it's a straight passing league. It does speak to that too. But I mean, damn, man, like the story of Brock Purdy is crazy. I'm going to go ahead because I want to talk about that more too. But I think you have something.
Well, I just want to point out, like, the league has changed a lot since Garcia threw for 4,100 yards in 2000. Like, I'm going back and looking at Tom Brady. Okay. So Tom Brady in 2000 wasn't even playing, but from 2001 to 2006, here are his numbers in terms of yards: 2,800 yards, 3,700 yards, 3,600 yards, 3,600 yards, 4,100 yards. Led the league with 4,100 in 2005, then 3,500 yards. Then he gets Randy Moss and starts going crazy. They change the rules, and all of a sudden, every year it's like 5,000, 4,800, 4,700, 4,500. He goes nuts. But that all happened like post 2008. I mean, back in the mid 2000s, it just wasn't as easy to throw. Even Brady wasn't putting up numbers like that. So I don't know. I feel like Jeff Garcia putting up 4,100 yards in 2000 is a little bit different than Brock Purdy putting up 4,200 yards in 2023. Just because everyone does that stuff now, or at least the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, if these guys, if you're watching
a different position back then.
If you're a young dude, young 49ers fan, a young woman, under, how would you have to be under 30 probably to really remember? If you're under 30, I don't know, and you don't really know, or you didn't really watch some 90s football, like these quarterbacks used to get effed up, like power drive, like you could take two steps and rip a quarterback.
Dude,
after
Steve Young got destroyed in his mid to late 30s. Steve Young was my favorite athlete ever. And just watching him get beat up, it was like anxiety provoking. Everybody's like, is he going to make it through? Oh my God, is he okay? And then the way his career ended was brutal.
Was he had like 10 concussions in his career or something like that? 8
Troy Aikman too. That's the kind of stuff that used to happen to quarterbacks. Now it's like, oh my God, he landed on the quarterback. That is unacceptable.
They used to pick quarterbacks. It could take 2 steps, pick him up, power drive him to the ground. That was normal. That was a normal play, no penalty back in the day. And these quarterbacks played through that and did what they did. Plus, you got to like the way they called pass interference was different as well. Like the way that the receivers could get lit the hell up, right? You had guys like Ronnie Lott who are waiting to just rip your head off as soon as you caught the ball. So it's a different time. So like I just want people to have some kind of context as to what Steve Young, Joe Montana, and Jeff Garcia did back in the day. That being said, what Brock Purdy has done in his first year starting is phenomenal. I think we should really highlight Brock Purdy was the last pick everyone knows this, but it's like a Disney movie that we get to watch, right? Like he was the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, looks like he's 17 years old. He comes out, right? He's the third quarterback. The only reason he got to play is because the other guys got hurt. He goes on a run, sees the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, hurts his UCL, has a UCL injury, has to get surgery. He's coming back. Meanwhile, Kyle Shanahan, he comes back really quick. Meanwhile, Kyle Shanahan's talking about he's the real deal, and we're going with him. We're going to trade away Trey Lance. And to me at the time, I'm like, what is wrong with these guys, right? Like I didn't.
Training camp was shaky. Joint practices were shaky.
Right, and
pitch count,
right, and then he comes out and he breaks the record for the 49ers franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
what?
Doesn't miss a game.
It's freaking crazy, man. It really is remarkable. You got to
get better as the season goes on.
Right, you got to take your hats off to this kid, man, and
puts himself legitimately in the MVP conversation.
Like, what the hell's going on? Imagine if he wins the Super Bowl, man. This is a legitimate movie. It's gonna come out. Who plays?
And it's
Brock?
like I'm saying, like he only threw for 4,200 yards, and quarterbacks do that a lot these days. But the only reason he didn't throw for more is because the Niners didn't throw very much this year, which is kind of remarkable about his season too. They were like the team that threw the least in the entire league, and they had this excellent quarterback putting up super efficient numbers. And the question was, why did they throw so little? Well, for a lot of reasons. One, they were winning by double digits in the fourth quarter so much that it was like stupid to pass, just run the ball. But also I think we saw in some of their losses that if you like put the whole game on Brock Purdy and tell him go win it, go cook, he might throw some interceptions. So I think part of it is he's great in doses. He's not necessarily the kind of guy yet that you would say, go throw 600 times this year and win us 12 games. But maybe in 2 years, he will be that guy because Brady wasn't that guy originally either. Not comparing Brock Purdy to Brady. I'm just saying.
He's not a drop back passer necessarily. He has to play within the, and that's fine. He
has to stay ahead of the sticks, has to be in favorable situations.
The running game has to be cooking. You can't, you're not going to come out there and not run the ball at all and just say pass like Brady.
Well, they tried that 2 weeks ago. It didn't work.
Right. So, but I mean, it's his second year, first full season. Like what he's doing is crazy. It's just really like Disney movie-ish. It's the this type of thing is what makes me feel like they're gonna win a Super Bowl. A lot of special things, a lot of records being broken. It feels like this you just get a good feeling like I used to have about the Niners in the 90s. And it's like this is kind of, it just feels like everything's headed towards that direction.
Here's the one thing that gives me pause. In the 90s, as you remember, when you won the NFC in the 90s, it felt like you had won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Until the late 90s when Mike Shanahan's Broncos put together a couple juggernaut teams back to back. But basically, it was like
Packers,
the Niners, the Packers, the Cowboys, whichever team won. Like now, I still have this thing in the back of my head, like
the AFC.
Is this the AFC from the 90s? Like, are you just the team? Like, are you just the Chargers? Whatever team is inevitably going to face the AFC juggernaut. All the elite quarterbacks are in the AFC. Part of what makes the NFC is there aren't great quarterbacks in this conference. Like Brock's the best quarterback in the NFC, or Dak, or
probably Kirk if he was healthy.
Stafford.
Yeah,
I mean
Stafford. Yeah,
I don't even know. And in the AFC, you just got all elite guys. Freaking top 5 quarterbacks over there.
The one thing that's making me feel good, though, honestly, like if the Chiefs were cooking, if Patrick Mahomes was doing his thing and the Chiefs were doing good, I'd be scared about that. But the Ravens, I do have a little worry, but it's like we at least got a 50-50 chance with the Ravens. I feel like even as good as they are, it's at least 50-50 because of how good this team is. with the Chiefs and Mahomes or something, I would be a little paranoid because he just seems to be ridiculous in the postseason. But hey, maybe Lamar. I mean, what Lamar is doing right now is it's really damn impressive. 5
Yeah.
touchdown passes against the Dolphins. So it does worry me. I do feel like the Niners are going to the Super Bowl. If they win it, that's a different question. If I had to predict, if the Ravens were going against the Niners in the Super Bowl right now and we had to predict that one, I don't know how I would feel, how confident I would be in that
But again,
one.
like that would be more than a month away from now. You don't know who Eric Armstead might be back. There could be players who are hurt. Things change quickly in football. But yeah, the Niners would have to do some serious introspection to win that game.
Who, if Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl and they make a movie about him, who plays Brock Purdy?
Me. I'm too old.
Grant.
I'm way too old. And I'm not an actor.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, everyone, I would say the dude from Superbad, but he's probably my age too. Like he's 35 now.
What's that kid that all the young girls like? Zac Efron plays Brock
Dude, he's
Purdy.
probably 40.
He is old now. Shit.
Yeah.
You know who Brock Purdy reminds me of?
Who?
But he's old as hell now. He's older than me. Sean Astin. Remember Sean Astin? From like the Goonies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely Brock Purdy, but he's way too old. He's like 50 something now. I don't know.
I'll have to think about that one, but whoever it is has to be probably 17.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How quickly will they make that movie?
Quick. Before the season starts. Yeah.
All right, let's play some prize picks before I get too worked up about Brock Purdy's inevitable movie. All right, so they don't have any NFL today because there's no Monday Night Football. So let's try to be experts of college football. There's 2 bowl games today. Alabama and Michigan, and Washington against Texas. So people in the chat, please help us out. We got 4 quarterbacks. And before we start, I want to point out that if you watched the show last week, me and Ryan, mostly Ryan, did 6 quarterbacks from around the league. He got all of them right. All 6. 25-1, apparently. Ryan nailed it. I don't think I helped much. So let's see if Ryan can do it again.
I'm going to tell you right now, college is not my thing. So I'll do my best for you. But no, I don't. I think I better stick with the NFL in general. But let's do our best.
All right. Let's do our best. So Jalen Milroe, quarterback for Alabama. I'll give you some stats, all right? Last 3 games, he's put up 192 yards, 259, and 197. So not a lot. And then Michigan, their defense is giving up 152 passing yards a game in the Big Ten. So I'm inclined to say less here.
Yeah, I'm going to say less based on that information.
I'm going to say less based on the intel that we've been given here.
Inside info. Well, what the hell? Hey, Grant, come on back, man. Prize picks. I don't know what happened to Grant. He must have, Prize Picks must have cut him off because he's too good at this. There he is. I thought Prize Picks was like, man, you're making too much money. We got to let you go.
Hold on. Let me get back in the mix here. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't you hate when you right click something, you mean to left click something?
Leave studio? Yeah, I always do that.
Okay. All right. We're going less for Jalen Milroe. JJ McCarthy, 196. That seems disrespectful, right? Well, this dude last 3 games has put up 147, 148, and 141. And the game before that, he threw 8 times against Penn State, threw for 60 yards.
This is Harbaugh's Michigan we're talking about, right? Oh, yeah. They're going to run the ball. I'm going to say less.
I'm going to say less as well. Okay. Now we got Washington versus Texas. Michael Penix, 319.5 against Texas. Okay. Michael Penix, last 3 games. A lot of
people saying Penix is the real best prospect coming out.
I haven't watched that much of him, but what I have seen, he just looks like Tua. I don't understand. Looks like Tua, the lefty. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I've only watched a little bit, but my initial impression is Tua.
Okay. Well then, Penix
319, 204, 162 last 3 games. Put up 332 against Utah and 256 against USC.
How's Texas defense look?
Texas's defense, let me tell you, their pass defense is giving up 212 yards a game. What are they? Are they still in the Big 12? No. I don't know. Who cares?
I don't know. 319 seems like a lot. I'm going to go
under. That's too much.
Yeah.
Like who? No, for Tua 2.0? No. I'm just full hater today. Quinn Ewers, 292. Here's his last 5 games. 452 against Oklahoma State, 196 against Texas Tech, 281 against Iowa State, 317 against TCU, and 211 against Houston.
I'm gonna go under on my guy Quinn.
Yeah, I'm gonna go less too. All
I got
4.
a question for you since we're talking college. We're talking college. I, we can place a bet if you want, but Bears just secured the number 1 seed. Who do they get?
Oh, easy. I know exactly who I would take if I were them. Marvin Harrison Jr. That dude is the best player in the draft.
Should they trade down? Because they're probably going to want to get Caleb. They could probably trade down to like the 2.
I don't like Caleb.
No.
He's a diva.
Is that because you're UCLA
I don't know about
USC?
him.
Yeah.
I think he's a diva.
Yeah.
He's no Brock Purdy.
He's no damn Brock Purdy. Hey, Bears could probably trade down at least a spot because I'm assuming a lot of people would want Caleb though first.
Perhaps. I wouldn't be against taking a wide receiver with the first pick. I mean, might really help Justin Fields. Might be the ticket. Or if you think you could trade down and get him with the second pick. Either way, if you guys want to copy our winning picks, because we got all of them right last week, use promo code Cohn, COHN, get 100% deposit match up to $100 at Prize Picks.
You should do that.
You should do that. Okay. Next topic.
Yeah.
Kittle, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, all over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. It's an incredible accomplishment for statistically one of the best offenses in franchise history.
Yeah. I mean, Kittle and BA both are over 1,000 receiving yards, which is the first time the 49ers have done that since T.O. and Jerry Rice.
Back in 2000. Well, no, actually before then, I think 99, because Jerry didn't get to 1,000 in 2000.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I'll put it that way. Before my kids were born, I got a 24-year-old daughter. I think it's been since about time she was born.
98.
Yeah.
90 freaking 8.
Yeah. A long time ago. So phenomenal, man. Like a tremendous achievement. Another reason why you think about what Brock Purdy's done, you think about what these guys are doing, you're like, man, this is crazy. And then CMC honestly has 2K. CMC has 2,000 scrimmage yards. Over 2,000 scrimmage yards is crazy. Like, these guys are clicking, man. And this is another reason why it just feels like the year. You got Brock Purdy over 4,000 yards, breaking franchise records. You got Kittle, Debo, and BA and CMC over 1,000. CMC's got 2,000. CMC leads the NFL in rushing yards. I think total touchdowns still, I believe.
He leads the league in touches, yards from scrimmage, and touchdowns. That's an incredible season. 339 touches, 2,023 yards from scrimmage, and 21 touchdowns. Wow. Also leads the league in rushing attempts and rushing yards. Like, wow. What a year. If that's not an MVP year, that's such a dominant year for a running back. And it's like the one thing he has over Purdy is volume. You know, Purdy does it all in an efficient way, but he's not passing very much. Whereas McCaffrey is not only efficient, not only averaging 5.4 yards per carry, but he leads the freaking league in carries, getting goal line carries that, kill your yards per attempt average. I don't know. We're going to get to that topic in a little bit, but great year for McCaffrey.
Yeah, tremendous year for McCaffrey.
Great year for Ayuk.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Ayuk for a second. What he's done.
Dude's going to get paid.
Like, if you look at the top receivers in terms of receiving yards, I don't know where he is. He's somewhere in the top 10. But then you just compare the targets that they've gotten and what he's maybe 100 targets. And he's put up, no one can touch what he done on such a little amount of action. Imagine if he got 150 targets a season, which he absolutely warrants.
Yeah.
So crazy.
He leads the NFL. He's number 1 in the NFL in yards per reception. So when he gets the ball, he's the best in the NFL as far as yards per reception.
It's not like he's playing with Joe Flacco or anything.
Flacco's nice too, man. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, tremendous. And you kind of saw this coming with BA. He was just constant every year.
So good. Training camp.
Best player on
Takes his craft
field.
so seriously. He's always in great shape. It's kind of like McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Also, he's pissed all the time. Ayuk. He's just angry. He's got this like, I don't know what it is, but he constantly seems like he's trying to prove himself, unlike Debo, who sometimes wants to prove himself.
You know what? I watched the Brandon Ayuk's press conference after the win yesterday, and it was the most calm, relaxed, content Brandon Ayuk I've ever seen in my life. Because I
Yeah,
feel like
we really happy to win this game. It really meant a lot to us.
he's so chill. He was so chill,
know,
and I
September football.
you know what it means to me when I'm watching it. Obviously, he's had a remarkable season. He knows that. The 49ers have the 1 seed. He got some rest. But also, to a guy like Brandon Ayuk, who comes from, humble background, he knows now. He just secured his family's status for generations with this season. He stayed healthy. He played his ass off. He's done everything right. He's one of the top receivers in the NFL. And that man is about to get a lot of money. And you can kind of almost feels like a weight has been lifted off of his shoulders. That maybe I'm making too much of it, but when I was watching that press conference, I saw a accomplished Brandon Ayuk versus that hungry grinder guy. Not that he's going to stop.
In his contract year, let's just remark on what he did so far. 101 targets, 72 catches. I mean, leading the team in catch percentage, or him and Kittle. 18.3 yards per catch, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. Like, that's Jerry Rice numbers.
Yes.
I mean, not the touchdowns, but that's because McCaffrey gets all those touches in the red zone. But 1,300 yards, 18 yards, like, that's Jerry Rice stuff. I'm sorry. I'm sure Jerry Rice has seasons like that.
Brandon Ayuk is the best receiver the 49ers have had since Terrell Owens.
No question about it.
Yeah.
Nothing against Debo, and he's really good at what he does. But it's just hard to call him a wide receiver when he's not really running routes. He's sort of getting manufactured touches, and then he is impossible to tackle. He gets credit for all that. But he's a wide back. He's a wide back. He's the best wide back of all time. But this is a wide receiver. There's a difference.
Yeah, the 49ers got to find a way to retain him. Do you think they do? Do you think they bring BA back?
Yeah, absolutely. I think.
And because it's going to make
he's
it cheaper
part of the
next
crew.
year anyways.
Even I don't know. They may even invite him to Cabo this year. I think he gets invited to Cabo this year.
I think he's there. I think they bring him back. And then honestly can make things cheaper next year. So it won't really be a big deal until the year after that financially. So I think they bring him back. I mean, if they don't, they're tripping.
Yeah. I just think he's a cornerstone player for this team. He's still getting better. You can't get rid of him and keep Debo. That's just a mistake.
You know, he kind of is. He's kind of like from a work ethic standpoint, and from I trust you to go handle your business in the off season and how hard you're going to compete and how you're going to take care of yourself. He kind of like Nick Bosa of the offense in that regard.
Yeah.
Like he's a pro.
He doesn't seem like he's that into being famous. And I'm always kind of weary of football players who kind of cross over into fame because football's not glamorous. It's a grind. I mean, I don't play it, but look at Travis Kelce. Look at guys look at Patrick Mahomes. All of a sudden, you're making all this money off the field and commercials. You have all these other interests, and it's like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. It seems like I don't know.
Yeah,
and I've seen players flirt with that. The ones who don't, Purdy doesn't seem to be particularly interested in being famous. Ayuk doesn't seem particularly interested in being famous. Those are the guys that you can kind of count on, sort of bringing it every week. So
that's a good point, man. Like they kind of lose their edge, and that's kind of feels like what they've done in Kansas City right now. They're superstars now. They're celebrities. They're accomplished men. They kind of lost their edge, their grind,
and they want like the refs to give them a break. Like, no, you got to prove it again,
or they cry about it.
They cry about it. It's like, what? That's a terrible look. Yeah,
I'm disappointed in Patrick Mahomes. Like he's still probably the best quarterback in the NFL right now. I would still put that on him. I think he's going to come back next year. He's probably going to be pissed off about this year and come back better next year. But a little disappointed, a little stock down on Patrick Mahomes because of the way he's acted.
That whole team. I don't know, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. I don't know what's going on over there. Whoever drafted their wide receivers. Hold on. Let me get some of these super chats. I think we have a couple more. Here we go. Grant as 45-year-old block. I think I missed some super chats because I left the thing. Let me know if you find any. Because I exited the show. I'll see. There may not be anything before 11:25. Grant as 45-year-old Brock narrating the film.
You could.
Funny. Looking back like the Wonder Years. Brother Bob, member for 8 months. Thank you, Brother Bob. Happy New Year's, Eaglet. And again, Ryan, Eagles are trash.
Agreed. BB.
Dan Campbell has no brain. Just kick the extra point after the ref messed you up. Yep. I don't understand going for it from the 7. That felt like a really emotional decision.
It was.
Logan, new member. Thank you, Logan Hagerman. Malik Payton. Remember when we were talking about who the Niners should sign, Ayuk or Young? Yeah. Ayuk. Brother Bob says Dak and McCarthy poop their pants in the clutch moments. That is true. We've seen them do it. They still have the stains. There's evidence.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Is this Trent Williams' last season?
I feel like if they win the Super Bowl, it should be. And I don't want to make decisions on people. If they want to work, if he wants to keep going, Trent. But I think we could have learned a little bit from Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady, when he won that Super Bowl against the Buccaneers, he should have stepped away probably. Right? Mm-hmm. Go out on top. I love an athlete that goes out on top, that retires before it's not too late. I don't like watching legends and their demise. And I think Trent Williams, if he wins a Super Bowl, he's accomplished everything he could want to accomplish. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame regardless. If he wins a Super Bowl this year, man, I think this may be the last season of Trent Williams. And I want to say something too, Trent Williams is a top 3 player on this offense. He doesn't get talked about enough. You can make a legitimate case he's the MVP of this offense. I really feel that way about Trent. When he's not in, it's a different game. He helps CMC. He helps Brock. He's phenomenal. His story about coming back from cancer and continuing to play, it's just great, man. He's another guy that is probably going to get a movie if he wins a Super Bowl at some point. His will be a few years down the line. But Trent Williams, man, if I'm Trent Williams, and you guys give him that award every year for when they talk, the media award, right? I forget what it's called, where you guys vote on who's the best member of the 49ers with the media. Trent wins that one.
He has won that.
Yeah. Did he win 2 years in a row, right?
He may have.
Yeah, I think
but
he did.
I don't think he's going to win this year.
No.
I think I think Bosa is going to win it this year.
Really?
Bosa. He's really good. Every week, he's at his locker. Anything you ask, he gives a candid answer. Because he's like that. I think the only person who makes more money in the organization than Bosa is Jed. So as far as he's concerned, what do you want to know about what we're doing, the team we're facing? I love that. It's almost not going to tell me anything.
The media awards almost like a who tells you the most award, right? But yeah, I mean, Trent is back to Trent, man. It's up to him if he wants to do the run. If they win the Super Bowl and he's on that run it back mode type thing, hey, more power to him, and maybe they can. But I just like to see people go out on top, and I don't know. I think it'd be nice to see. I mean, what else is he playing for at this point? He's got the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens? How much money is he going to make next year if he plays? And how much will he miss out on?
My computer's kind of slowing down right now. I don't know why. I got this new computer. It's kind of janky. But Trent Williams, guess how much money, how much cash he's earned in his NFL career just from contracts?
I'm going to say 200.
250. $250 million. So I think he stands to earn another $70 million over the next 3 years. How much do you want? $70 million.
If you have $250 million, I think you're good.
Probably invested.
I think you're okay. I think at this point it's not about money. It's about, do you want to play or do you want to go do something else with your life?
Yeah.
You have $250 million. I don't think you need that. If you have $250 million, you can make 70 another way.
But I mean, they already. Let me give you a year in the life of Trent Williams.
Okay.
You don't have to go to training camp.
Yeah.
Forget that. Forget the preseason. Forget training camp. Just, show up, work out, be there, but just play in the game. And then during the season, Forget Wednesday practices. Just the day off. You practice 1 day a week and one walkthrough.
That's true.
I'm just saying, like, and they
Where's
could probably
Trent
adjust
from?
that. If you don't want to practice at all, fine.
Where's he from? Is he from the East Coast somewhere?
No, he's from Texas.
Okay.
He's from Texas.
Yeah. So you probably got a
In
house there
addition,
and here.
he has two. They give him 2 lockers plus a foot locker for like an additional locker for all of his shoes, and he has like a rope in front of his 2 lockers. You know what I mean? Like at the movie theater, so you can't get in the club.
Yeah.
One
what
locker
you're
says
saying is-
Silverback. The other one says Williams 71. I mean, they really give him the red carpet treatment there, man. I feel like they'll take him
One for each
however.
persona. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying, he's gonna if either way, he's gonna run it back. That's what you.
If he says, "Hey guys, I'm retiring," what are they going to do? They're like, "Cool, we'll just slide Colt McKivitz to left tackle. Then we're good. We're prepared for this moment. We got this." Like, I'm sure they would try to make him an offer he couldn't refuse before, but they tried to do that with Alex Mack and it didn't work.
I don't think they can run it back without Trent Williams. They can't run it back. If they win the Super Bowl and Trent Williams retires,
you can't replace Trent Williams.
No.
Just having a top 10 pick doesn't mean you can replace, which they don't.
All right.
But if you did, anyway. Yeah. F95 SF49 says, "Happy New Year from Hamburg, Germany. Deeply appreciate your work and insights. Learning a lot about football, my favorite team. Thanks." Thank you.
Got a lot of German. Got a lot of German in me. I want to visit one day, man. So shout out to you.
Yeah,
but
you have a show.
My family came here before the 1900s, just for the record.
Oh, good to know.
Just for the record.
I was about to look at you sideways.
Yes.
Brother Bob says, "Ig, you have a show with Larry? If so, check him about BA." That is such a silly discussion. All Larry said was that he thought Ayuk would have more touchdowns, and then he got him. I don't understand why that's such a big deal. That one. There's so many things you could get Larry about, but the Ayuk thing is silly to me. I don't know.
No comment.
Really going to argue about touchdown? I don't know. Malik Payton says Trent is a top 3 player on this team, and he's not 2 or 3. Yeah. Sean McGee says, "Hey guys, love the show. Random question unrelated to the topic. How many players do you think are on PEDs? The amount of punishment they take in recovery is everything you think. They all beat the test." Man, I'd like to hold on to my press pass, so I'm not going to speculate on something I don't know. I don't know, man. You tell me, Sean. Thank you. Sorry, dude.
I have no press pass, but no comment.
No comment. Silky Smooth Smithers says, "Would it be crazy if Brock was to practice with the second team to get an eye to prep for the unexpected if injuries pile up from the first team?" I don't like the idea of inverting starters and backups in this game. Having like all the starters kind of take the week off from practice and then be backups. And if someone gets hurt, it's like, "Hey, Brock, we need you to in the 3rd quarter of this meaningless game right now because we're out of bodies." Like, no.
That's Brandon Allen time, I think.
Brandon Allen. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says, "Don't go out on top. Go out when your ability is gone. Don't leave anything in the tank because you're done. You're done."
It's a good point.
No, man. Yeah, I'm saying usually people like retire because they don't want to do training camp. It's just so tedious. But he doesn't have to do that.
There's something like very impressive or legendary about going out on top with, like, just not dragging it out. Sometimes that stuff gets a little sad and embarrassing when guys are just like, bro, just give it up. Like, I respect Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
He didn't go out on top, but he left before he could have kept playing for years, but he's like, "I'm good." I don't know. I respect it.
Brother Bob says, "Larry also said Brandon Ayuk had drops, wasn't open, not getting money." All right, I'll check him on that. Official BNA Music 88 says, "I missed one." Did I?
Can't miss one. You gotta have BNA.
Must be way back.
Play the guitar sometime for you, man. I had him on my show. Play the guitar.
Happy New Year, Iglet. And again, Ryan, Eagles are trash. Was it that one?
No, we got that one.
I don't know. I got that one, but that's the last one I got. I mean, before then, they're all gone because I left the show by accident. So just write it in the chat for free, and I'll get it on the show. Sorry about that, Brother Bob. Brooks. Okay. Last topic. No, 2 more.
Okay.
Niners have the number 1 seed. They have a bye week, And, I don't know. They've won some big games in the NFC. I don't think they'd be nervous about going to Philly, but they don't have to. And they get a week off. How do you see this Super Bowl run unfolding?
I mean, I think we covered a lot of it. Really, the Super Bowl it's kind of feels like their destiny, all because of the feeling around the team, the records that they're putting up, the it just feels like it's headed that direction. Not only that, they have the option of going into the divisional round healthy if they choose to, and then they just have to win 2 games at home against a weak NFC. Feels like Kyle's finally uh, in his bag a little bit, right? Like he's finally figuring things out. Everything's clicking. He has his quarterback. I mean, it all feels like all the pieces are there. This will be the most disappointing season of all time for the 40. Even greater when the Cap lost the Super Bowl or when Jimmy lost the Super Bowl, because Cap was a surprise. I never thought Jimmy was going to be good. I would have been surprised if they won a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. But if they don't win it this year, man, it's going to be really disappointing because of all the pieces they have in place and the direction and the nostalgia around this team. I feel like it's their destiny to get there. I don't really want to speak on if they're going to win it or not, but I just got a feeling that they're going to pull it off. But depends on who they play. But I feel like they're the kings of the NFC and they have home field advantage and they can be healthy. It's like all falling into place for the 49ers to get to the Super
Bowl. Yeah, I would totally agree. And it's like they're only going to get older. Brock Purdy's only going to get more expensive. And he's only get more exposed to the NFL. Teams are going to have better plans to how to match up with the 49ers offense. This is the year where they're ahead of everyone else, especially in the NFC. Feels like they got to get it done. I mean, even with the Ravens, if they face the Ravens again, you saw them already. You outgained them. You had the wrong game plan. You let Brock Purdy sink the ship. You should be able to run the ball and win the game with McCaffrey. The way they called the game yesterday, you call it like that against the Ravens, they should win.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really feels like they're only in their own way, but Kyle does have that history, man. 2 Super Bowls, not just one.
Yeah, but he's getting older, though. Are we going to talk about Kyle? Is that the last subject? Or no?
I think we did already.
Okay.
Did we not?
Did we?
We did.
I don't know if we did. So if we're not, no, we can cover it in this. The thing about Kyle is that everything we've talked about in regards to these weapons and the way they're performing this year, Brock Purdy and the way he's performing this year, that's all a product of Kyle Shanahan. We got to give him credit for that. He has built this team. It's taken him 7 years to get to this point, but he's built this team. He kind of lucked into Brock, if we're being real. But once he found Brock, he's learned how to utilize him the right way. If he just understands and sticks to what his strengths are and doesn't try to outthink himself, kind of like he did in the Ravens game. I don't know what he was thinking in that Ravens game. But a lot of people were like, oh, he doesn't trust Brock. Look at the way he's attacking the Commanders in the beginning. I'm like, this is what they should be doing. This is their strength, right? It's based off the run and play action. You got to establish the run. You got to play good defense, and then things will open up for you. As long as Kyle Shanahan continues to understand that and doesn't lose their identity in these playoffs, in this postseason, I think Kyle's going to pull it off this year, man. I just got a feeling they're going to pull it off this year. Feels like it.
It's just really cool how he's put together the weapons on this offense. When he first got here, he had Pierre Garçon and Marquise Goodwin, who were okay. And then he tried to upgrade Marquise Goodwin into Dante Pettis, who's a totally different skill set, and just he wasn't the NFL player Kyle Shanahan thought he'd be. Then he got Brandon Ayuk, he immediately compared to Dante Pettis. Similar type of split end, can run every route, comes from the Pac-12, but way tougher. And you can see how Kyle Shanahan sort of evolved what he was looking for. Similar skill set, but with some modifications. Mm-hmm. And then at flanker, he started off with Garçon and evolved to Deebo Samuel, who is kind of like Garçon in the sense that they're really tough, but Deebo is so much more dangerous after the catch and so much more dangerous in motion and shifts and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting to see Kyle Shanahan have a vision and then modify it through the years.
And it seems like he's maturing. He's become a little bit more accountable. I think a lot of this is due to Brock Purdy too, right? He's able to run his full offense now because he has Brock Purdy. He's more content and relaxed and accountable, and just his demeanor has relaxed some. And I feel like that's owed to Brock Purdy. I think Jimmy stressed him the hell out. And, he was probably having a lot of frustrations because he couldn't run what he wanted to run. And no matter what he drew up, Jimmy could mess it up at any time. And I think Brock Purdy has relaxed Kyle Shanahan quite a bit and allowed him to just get in his full bag. And I feel like all of these things combined, Brock Purdy, the weapons, this team, Trent Williams, Kyle Shanahan, it's all combined to a great year so far. But they got to finish this thing.
They do. Official BNA Music 88 says, back in the day, quarterbacks got retired by defenses. Today, quarterbacks ride off into the sunset with all memories intact at age 45.
Correct.
Yeah. Steve Young might have wanted to play till he was 45, but that wasn't an option for him. Logan says, what team will give the Niners the most problems? Baltimore.
And the Browns, maybe. Yeah.
Browns. The Bills. Bills might not even make it.
Bengals ain't
gonna Joe Crowell says, for the crowd saying, play it till you can't play anymore, talk to guys like Jim McMahon who can't lift his arm above his waist nowadays. Health is the true wealth.
Yes, sir. I agree.
That's a good point. All right, last one. Let's do some awards for the 49ers.
Okay.
Well, how do you want to do this? For the league or for the Niners?
Oh, Niners. Yeah, just for the Niners.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What awards?
All right, you take it through it. You take us through it.
Let's start with a negative award. Let's start with the negative. The rest are positive. The negative award, though, is worst offseason move by the 49ers. Let me get your take on that one.
Worst offseason move by the 49ers. Letting Jimmy Ward go?
That's a bad one. They could be using him right now.
They could be using him right now, especially at safety. They could have him at safety right now. What do you think?
I think that's a bad one. Yeah, I think they could have won another game or so if they had Jimmy Ward. They could have probably sealed this deal two games ago with Jimmy Ward. Yeah, that was on my list of things. I gave Kyle Shanahan a plan in the offseason of what he needs to do to win the Super Bowl, and that was on my list, keep Jimmy Ward. For me, though, it's the Dallas Cowboys have an undrafted kicker that's 35 for 35 right now. He's perfect. And the 49ers could have got him and got DeJuan Jones, who's a great right tackle right now already for the Browns.
Good call.
That was the worst offseason move. They could have already had that done. And I wanted them to draft DeJuan Jones. And now, no disrespect to Moody. He's 14 for 14, under 40 yards. He's 6 for 9, over 40 yards. So he's done well. He probably could have won them a game had he made that. This isn't what I'm saying right now. Isn't really a knock on Moody or saying that he's not a good kicker or can't be a really good kicker. That's not the point of this. It's the value that you missed out on, that you spent on a kicker in the third round and 2 tight ends we haven't seen yet. You didn't need to do that.
They could have just taken him instead of Cam Latu. They could have both.
Yes, they could have Moody and DeJuan Jones instead of Cam Latu. Yeah,
yeah.
And
like
maybe Cam's going to be great, but yeah, I'll
take Moody over Cam.
Yeah, and I would take DeJuan Jones over both those.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right now too,
a quality offensive tackle. Yeah.
Could you imagine because I watched Colton McKivitz yesterday, dude. I spent two drives. Let me just focus on Colton McKivitz for these 2 drives. I did that. It wasn't good, man. Like he doesn't.
All you can say when you watch Colton McKivitz is, well, he's not paying him much.
Right. I tweeted out. I'm like the best you get from Cohn McKivitz is he's kind of in the way of those guys. Kind of momentarily. He's not moving anybody. No. Could have had DeJuan Jones, which would have made this team even stronger, even more capable of winning the Super Bowl. And then next year they could have prioritized on Trent Williams replacement or a center for Brindell. So that was a big offseason mistake. If we're going negative at all in the show, that's the one I have. So what about the best offseason move, Grant?
Well, signing Hargrave has been an excellent move for them, but also like signing John Feliciano has been a nice move too.
Yes,
because they're not great at adding offensive linemen, and he's played really well at both guard spots, and he could play center if they need him to. Yeah,
Twin had one on my show this morning. I asked him that same question, and he said trading Trey Lance, which I thought was interesting. I think that's probably true. Because Brock Purdy's healthy, so it's good to get that distraction out of the building because it would have been a distraction. But if something would have happened to Brock Purdy and we had to roll with Sam Darnold throughout the season, then I don't know if that would have been a good move. But that's what he said. What do you think about that one?
I can see it, although something could have happened to Brock. I don't think Sam Darnold's good at all. So they kind of got lucky on that one. I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, and then I know there's going to be a lot of people watch this and comment that Darnold beat out Trey Lance. He did not. He did not. For people that were there, he did not. I think they just wanted to get rid of him as a distraction.
No, it's pretty clear.
And it paid off because Brock Purdy's been healthy. So I think that's all right. Next award, man. Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you got for the 49ers?
It's a tough one. And you can make an argument for a lot of guys. Like you could say Bosa, but he didn't do much the first half of the year. Right. You could say Fred Warner. He's kind of fallen off the last few weeks.
He's had a few bad games.
Throughout
the year?
He sure has.
Yeah,
he has. Mm-hmm. Fred.
Yeah, Fred. We know what you did too, Fred. We know.
We know what you did.
We know what's going on, Fred.
And don't act like we don't know.
Yeah.
You know who's come on really strong recently? Travarius Ward.
That's my pick.
Does he have 5 picks this year?
Yes, that's my pick. That's my defensive
all of a sudden
player.
He's playing like an all-pro cornerback. He said he would, and now he is. He kind of got embarrassed against the Vikings when he dropped that pick that was right to him and turned into a touchdown. But since then, he's been great. Ever since I kind of challenged him.
Yeah. Make sure you all spell his name right. But Travarius Ward is, to me, the defensive player of the year for the 49ers. He's been essentially locked down over there. He's been really consistent. He's leading. He's also a leader amongst his in the DB room. I got to give it to Travarius, man. He stood out the most, and he's earning his money. You know, it's not always often that you got guys making big dollars that are earning it, and he is.
Dude, he has 5 picks and 23 pass breakups. Like he's having crazy.
He's the NFL in pass breakups.
Yeah. I would have to say him, and he's actually really cool. He's the kind of guy in the locker room you can go up to whenever and talk to him. He talks to Tracy Sandler all the time because Tracy Sandler knows that he's available, and he's funny. Like I was in the locker room the other day, and my pants were sagging, which I try not to do anymore because I'm almost 36 and I'm trying to be professional. But I was, and he walked by me without even missing a beat. He was like, "Oh man, that man's sagging. You thugging, huh?" And just like laughed at me. Look at this white boy. Yeah. Like, yes,
dude, I'm 44, and I don't sag like I did in high school, but like I can't wear my pants on my hips. Like I don't know.
Do that.
It just feels.
There's got to be like at least weird. 2 inches of sag.
Just a little bit. I can't have it like on my hips. That's crazy.
But it can't be under your butt either. That's just a bad.
No, that's ridiculous. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And I assure you, I wasn't dressed that way.
Yeah, Travarius, man. I know how to spell your name, buddy. Hit me up. Yeah, I'd love to talk to you. Yeah, but Travarius gets deep boy, man. What about? Let me throw in a curveball on this one. I didn't tell you about this one, but what about most underrated player on the 49ers?
Don't say Brock Purdy. Everyone makes it seem like he's so underrated. Like, no, he's not underrated.
No,
not anymore. Most underrated player on the 49ers. Diamador Lenoir's in the running.
It's true.
He's quite good. I'd say Dre Greenlaw, but he kind of brings it on himself with all the 15-yard penalties, which he hasn't had in a while. Yeah.
I got 2.
Lenoir.
Lenoir's a good one. I'm going to go on defense, Gibson. On offense, Juwan Jennings. I think Gibson has been not really consistent outside of a few penalties this year. He's had a couple games where he had a couple penalties that were costly, but other than that, he goes under the radar and does his job and does really well. I don't believe he's allowed a passing touchdown his entire time with the 49ers. I'm pretty sure that's true, which is crazy to think about, and nobody talks about it. It's kind of weird. And then Juwan Jennings, I think they definitely missed him against the Ravens. His run blocking ability, his toughness, the way he gets under the defense's skin, his clutchness on third down. I got to give it to those guys for that award.
I like it. Those are good ones. Right. Okay, underrated. Okay. Let's keep going.
Okay, last one. I had two different ones, but I'm gonna put them all together because I think it's an easier conversation. If you have to like, there's offensive player of the year and there's MVP. It's kind of hard to figure out which is which. But if I don't know, you can divide them into two different awards. How do you want to cover it? I
Well,
want to take the easy way
I'm
out, but go ahead.
going to be a jerk about this.
Okay.
Offensive player of the year for the Niners? Ayuk. I think he deserves some recognition for this season. He didn't get the volume that Christian McCaffrey got, but leading the league in yards per catch, 1,300 yards on 100 targets. I think he had a phenomenal year. I think he's absolutely a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Absolutely a top 5 wide receiver in the league. And I think he had a top 5 season among wide receivers. He just didn't get the ball as much as he could have because McCaffrey gets it so much. So I'm going to say Ayuk just to be a jerk.
Hey, I like it, man. I like BA has been one of my favorite offensive players. I don't have him in this. I think he's on this next tier for me just because of the other guys that are on the team and the importance of the quarterback position. But I would link to me, I can't do it. I'm gonna take the easy way out. It's Trent Williams, CMC, Brock Purdy. Those 3 guys deserve to share the offensive player of the year and MVP award to me. Like they have a hand in all of it. And I don't think Trent gets enough credit for it because Trent makes Brock Purdy better. He makes CMC better. If you take Trent, Brock, and CMC out of this equation, this team's not clicking the way it is right now. But BA is a good. I mean, BA, Debo, Kittle, they all are right there. But to me, that's the 3-headed monster that I want to make sure is healthy.
Okay. So I'm not okay. MVP. I put Ayuk as the offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
So for MVP, I'm going Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Christian.
Yeah.
And not Brock. Because to me, again, I said Ayuk is a top 5 wide receiver in the league. McCaffrey's the best running back in the league. He's the number 1 running back in the league. He had a special season. He led the league in carries, rushing yards, touches, yards from scrimmage, and touchdowns from scrimmage. That is a pristine A+ season from an A+ running back. He deserves the MVP. Brock is having an A+ season too, but he's not the best quarterback in the league, and he's not a top 5 quarterback in the league. He's a top 10 quarterback for sure, who's having an excellent season in doses. They don't throw the ball that much. And when they do, sometimes bad things have happened. Jesse Naylor put out that stat. You kind of want to keep him under 27 attempts. So Christian McCaffrey is the engine of the offense. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch the Baltimore game. Tell me what happened when they tried to make it Brock.
I like Jesse a lot. I love Jesse, actually. I
don't like Jesse at all.
I'm in love with Jesse. Here's the thing, though. The thing about that stat that he put out, where I just take a little issue with, is because the stat was basically like, if Brock throws this many times, then this happens. But usually the reason why he's throwing that many times is because they're already losing. The reason why he's throwing under those many times is because they're already winning. So I think that kind of skews that statistic a little bit. And so I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that as the full analyzation of him. Like yesterday, for example, he was on pace to throw 36 times in that game yesterday. What did he finish with? 27?
Something like that. Yeah.
First half, he had 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so that's been the trend all year. Like they come out, they pass pretty fair amount, and then they end up running the ball because the game's over. So
yeah.
Here's another one I want to ask you: it's
hard to give an MVP to a guy who was -4 in the turnover margin in the game. Not just 4 turnovers, but -4. No touchdowns to offset that. It's hard. People don't forget.
Yeah. It was a bad game. It was definitely a bad game. It was a bad game.
Yeah.
Here's another one I want to give credit to a guy for. So one more award, just throw you just one more in there. Most improved.
I'm not gonna say Purdy. I feel like he was doing this last year. He is improved, but I think, oh man, is Ayuk improved or is he just not playing with Jimmy Garoppolo anymore?
Ayuk's been solid. I think he is improved. But I wouldn't say most improved.
Lenore is up there. Lenore is very, very much improved. Travarius Ward is very improved. Those 2 corners.
One more.
Ambry.
That's the guy.
Ambry is not the worst player on the team anymore. He's actually decent.
When I said that one, that's who I had in my head.
Yeah.
Let me drink this because I'm going to
drink that. Drink that.
I think Ambry Thomas is most improved.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, those are the answers. Those are the answers.
I think that's right.
Yeah. I think those are the answers. Yeah. Purdy has improved a little bit. Ayuk has definitely improved.
Ayuk's been steadily improving, constantly.
Yeah.
Better.
Didn't take a huge jump, but just another little one.
Yeah. It's got to be Ambry. He went from almost not being on this roster.
That's it. And that's a testament to Steve Wilkes coming in and really getting the most out of these DBs with some talent.
Yeah.
Coaches
Shout out to Ambry. Yeah.
Shout out to Ambry. All right.
Ambry is easy to spell. So Ambry.
Yeah. There is. I can't wait to see JP Mason this weekend. I liked him returning a kick. No one wants to tackle him.
I just want to see JP Mason do something. So if it's kick returner, great.
JP Mason was in a backfield at Georgia Tech with another NFL running back who's a rookie this year. What was his name?
Say what? What'd you say?
Jordan Mason was in a backfield on a team, Georgia Tech, with another NFL running back. He was a rookie this year. He ended up transferring to Alabama. Yeah, they're in the same team.
Yeah. Gibbs is nice, man.
Nice. Anyway, we got a couple more super chats and we're out. Boxing fan times 4. If Niners trade BA, would you draft his replacement in round 1 or draft 2 O-linemen in round 1 and get a wide receiver via trade or free agency?
Don't trade BA.
You probably need to get that guy in the first round.
You need a top 10 pick. Only trade BA if you can get Marvin Harrison Jr. Like that's how I feel.
Yeah, you're not getting Marvin Harrison Jr.
Right.
Hennock says Ambry definitely the most improved. Lenore still gets exploited for bombs. Also safe to say we don't look as dominant as 3 weeks ago. Maybe fatigue.
It was. I think it's fatigue. I think it's missing a couple of pieces like Armstead, and I also think it's that travel, man. I think it's hard to travel to the East Coast, and I think they settled in the second half. Yeah,
all those guys are traveling back today. It's exhausting. If I had been there, I would not be home right now. So
yeah.
Shout out to all those people. Ryan, good show.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm done for now. I think I'm doing a show with Larry later. I got to reach out to him and figure it out. But Kyle talks at 3:30. Let's see what he says about those injuries. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching, everyone. Oh, wait.